Kenny, you guys came out 24-0 run to start that second half. What changed for you guys, and what was working for you guys?
It was a halftime speech, of course. Absolutely not. We thought we were playing good basketball, right? And we're had a deficit, but we thought we were in a good place. I think the switch was we had to play with more pace. We were getting the ball up so slow. They were getting their defense set, and that was the big thing we hit them with at halftime. We got to get the ball up quicker. If their defense is set, they're a great half-court defense team. And I think Donovan started to get in the open court. That's when he's at his best. I thought that was key.
He had 4 points at the end of the first half. He finished with 39 in the second half for a total of 43. What changed for him in the game?
Again, I think it was getting into the open court. When we're in the half court with them, they're physical. They're grabbing. They're holding. They don't let you move. Incredible performance. Really, that was. What a shift, right? Really struggled in the first half, and then big time second half performance by Don.
Yeah.
Kenny, in the first 3 games of this series, the starting lineup hadn't necessarily played well together, been outscored by I think 11 points, but it was your best lineup tonight. What was different about that in this game?
I thought Dean Wade took his defense to another level. I don't know what the stats say. I don't know, but. To have a 6'9" body that can just, lean on Cade and make things difficult. I thought that was key. I thought James came out really aggressive. So those 2 bookends. And I thought Evan Mobley was phenomenal. I mean, he was just blocking everything, getting steals, blocking it. He was that was a defensive player of the year right there. He was great in the paint. So I think those 3 things, with Don struggling, kind of sparked that first unit.
I wanted to touch on the Evan Mobley stuff. He finished 2 steals shy of a 5x5, which I don't think's ever been done in the postseason before. But what kind of impact does he have for you guys when he's at his best defensively?
He was everywhere tonight, clogging the lane, and he was doing it with great discipline. Obviously. He'd been getting in had some foul issues, in the previous game, so staying down on shot fakes. But, I said at pregame, I know, I don't know what the stats say, the traditional stats say, but we know within our locker room how great he's playing. Just plays winning basketball, affects winning on both ends. He was... argued, Don's going to get all the flowers, but we should give a lot of flowers to Evan Mobley for tonight's performance.
This is maybe the first time since that second Toronto game that you have both Donovan and Harden, both really playing well.
Yeah.
Sort of distributed well. Just kind of what's the key for those 2 to be sort of working off each other, instead of sort of being independently.
Yeah, I think they're still learning each other, at the end of the day. So it's not, I always say it's not going to be perfect, especially with the limited time they've been together. But they have great synergy in terms of what we're running, what we need to run in certain situations. They have great synergy in terms of their kind of basketball philosophy that both kind of understand. What we want, what our team needs, and Donovan's got more corporate knowledge with this team, right? He's played so many years with these guys, so I think he helps James along, with play calls, with where we want guys in certain positions. So, but they have great communication. They're rarely disagree, basically on the same page.
Kenny, over your playoff career as a coach, you've been in a lot of different environments where it can get raucous. Tonight in that third quarter, it felt like it was deafening. Where does this rank on where you've been at?
Top, I bet by far the best I've seen in Cleveland. And this is a great crowd during the regular season, but that was insane. that's up there with the best crowds I've ever seen. It was fun, especially when Donovan got going and we went on that run. But and then it continued, right? Like even when we struggled a little, it was still they're still behind us. Incredible atmosphere tonight.
How do you guys kind of feed off of that? Obviously, the potential to come back for Game 6 and all of these kind of situations are now in play.
I mean, it's just a different story, 2-2. I know Game 5 is going to be tough, and it's in their place, but I think we made a stand, winning these 2 games. So that gives you confidence, right? As difficult as we know it's going to be there, I think it's a little different, playing at home, that Game 5, 3-1 and 2-2, a lot different. We obviously gained some confidence with these 2 wins, and I think we figured some stuff out, especially offensively, but offensively and defensively. I think we figured some stuff out. So I think that gives us confidence going in there.
Kenny, any similarities to that Toronto game? Because you had a little bit of momentum going into half in Game 7, and then you had a huge haymaker run to kind of start the second half there.
I think that always helps, right? Getting a little push going into halftime. It changes the halftime conversation. It really does. That guys are more receptive. When you make a little run or go into the locker room a little more positive instead of going on the other team going on an 8-0 run or something. So helps the conversation. You hope that fueled our second half start or was part of it.
And then any conversation at halftime about shot selection? They had 33 shots in the first half.
Yeah, I think that was it. I think my point to them was like, if we do play with more pace, we'll get to the rim more. It seems like they're correlated, right? So I didn't address, hey, bad shot there, bad shot. I was like, play with more pace, and we'll get to the rim more, which we need to do against this team.
Hey, Kenny, is there any specific thing you noticed from Donovan at halftime, or any conversation you saw him have or had?
Not really. The thing that I noticed the most that he was definitely not in rhythm the first half. Like it was a little bit different than I've seen. I've just not in rhythm. And that happens. Normally doesn't happen to him. But the mental fortitude and the mental, it's a big game, right? Like to turn that around, like he did, it's pretty impressive. Not sure in the playoffs I've seen a turnaround like that, where a guy is struggling and just absolutely turns the switch and complete opposite of the first half.
Speaking of turnarounds, what is working for you guys to be able to take care of the ball so much better?
I think we're screening better. Screening's important. I think our spacings, we figured out some things spacing-wise. I think we're moving off the ball again. We're our shared principles. I'm thinking of the one early in the first half where Evan had it in the post. They swarmed him, and James sprinted into an open space and got a 3. We're doing our work to get in those windows, which you need to do against this team. I think that's been a huge key.
Chris.
Hey, Kenny.
Chris.
What did Evan Mobley's defensive presence mean to you guys?
Yeah, I was just talking about it. I think it was, Donovan's going to get all the flowers tonight, but, Evan deserves just as many. He was, they have great rim dominance, right, offensively, and he was just seemed like he was swatting everything or had an effect on every shot. And then he was getting steals, kind of faking and falling and getting steals. Maybe the best I've seen Evan defensively, and that's saying something.
Obviously, when it comes to slowing down Cade, it's a team thing, and Dean, Jalen, all these guys take the on-ball assignment. But having Evan back there, Jarrett back there, what do you sense that doing for your defense against Cade?
It's huge. It's huge, and sometimes we ask our bigs to come up to the 3-point line, beyond the 3, and try to slow him down early. But this is our strength of our team, so even if J.A. or Evans up at the three-point line, we also got a 7-footer behind us. It's just not many teams in this league can have that. That's why we're a pretty darn good team, because you have that duo that can play off each other, and they play off each other perfectly, and they're doing it really at a high level right now defensively.
Last one, Mike.
Do we give Evan enough credit for his playmaking?
No, I don't. I think the pregame question was, how do we get Evan going more? It's like, Evan's not, Kobe. Evan's a excellent decision maker. Can really pass the ball. I think his handle's getting better and better. We had struggles early in the year. Remember that, and but we didn't have our full team, and now I think we're seeing like, yes, this guy can do it. We're using him in a ball handling situation because they're pressuring us so much. But I love Kobe. He always says he affects winning. Like that's the bottom line with Evan. And but I thought he made some really good decisions tonight that helped our offense.